Hey, kia ora. Good evening. This is Helen Brahms coming to you live from Mesa in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling Magic Monday. How has your Magic Monday been? Mine has been very magical. It has. I didn't get breakfast till like 11 o'clock this morning, till after 11 o'clock this morning. We got up late due to Zeffie getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and deciding she was cold and wanted snuggles, and then she finally settled down after I turned the bedroom fan off, which I wasn't a fan of. Wasn't happy about doing that, but because I like to have my fan on at night. But as soon as I turned that thing off, she just snuggled back down and she was out for the count for the rest of the night. But it took us an hour and a half to figure that one out. Um, but there was some nice little cuddles in between there. Um, so we had a late start to the day, so I didn't get breakfast before we went out for the walk, and we got back from the walk just in time to get on my first Zoom for the day. Then I did a very quick Zoom for you all, and then I have my second Zoom of the day. And my friend Chris Dyer told me about um, Pike Pike Peak District Library has these genealogy series that they do, and so it was really interesting to get onto that Zoom. There's only like the facilitator and four of us there, and we all had various experiences. I was the one there with the most, with of course, with 40 plus years. And yes, I did say 40 plus. I know I say 30 plus on my website, but when I actually calculated it out, it's 40 plus. Um, all up to right up to somebody who had been new, and it was good. It was a very good interactive thing on basic genealogy. She had it very well laid out, great information. I even learned a couple of new things in there as well. So I'm always learning, always refreshing, reminding myself on things, and they've got different series coming up. So I've taken note of their upcoming series so I can go and register for those too, because it was interesting to hear it from somebody else's perspective. And but it was good because those of us who have been doing genealogy for a while, um, of course, I did not tell them I was a professional genealogist. I just told them I've been dabbling with genealogy for 40 plus years. They actually had a survey that came up asking, I'm just beginning. I dabble every now and again, and haven't done it for a while and wanting to get back into it. And I'm like, none of those really apply to me. I says, I've been doing this for over 40 years. It's a huge passion of mine, and I'm working on it on a daily basis. So there's really nothing there. And so she said, I'll just put down dabbling. So we put down dabbling for that. But she said she's going to have to change that slide because she quite often gets people on there who have experience and are not dabblers. It's more of a passion, like it is with me. But it was good because we were able to learn more resources and things, and um, it was just a very good presentation. I really enjoyed it. One of the things that it reminded me of, though, is that people turn around and go, they use the term genealogy and family history interchangeably. And it really can't be done that way. Genealogy is about the facts. It is researching the facts. We are searching the dates, the places, the people. All we want is the facts. We want names, we want dates, and we want when it happened. Family history, on the other hand, is researching the story side of the family. So yes, you may have, um, your parents' names there with their birth dates, the date they got married, where they got married, and all of those factual information. But the family history is filling in those gaps. Where did they live? What was their life like growing up? Learning those stories, finding newspaper articles that can help pad out the story, finding out what were their occupations. So it's taking those factuals of the genealogy and creating that family story that describes their life, and finding out what was the life like during that time, finding the history portion, what was what was going on in history in the area where they lived. Could they have participated in it? Could they have seen it? There was one I was researching today, and it's they were living in New York State, and they were there at the time that Charles Lindbergh did his first flight across the Atlantic. What was it like back then when that was happening? But that's a story I can put in there because it's part of the history that was taking place during their life. So genealogy is the facts and figures, the dates and places, and family history is the story that goes behind, is the history behind the dates and the figures, the facts and figures. So it was really good to be reminded of that, because every now and again I tend to forget that and lose it a little bit. So it was a lot of fun. And then I was recording my review for a client for her tree that I've been trying to get to for the last couple of weeks, and I'm going through and I'm reading through my script notes, and everything seems fine, but something was just niggling me in the back of my head. Couldn't figure out what it was. And then as I started going through the tree, and delivering the report on her mother's side of the family, it suddenly hit me as to what the problem was. I was like, oh my gosh, there was a problem in there where one of the obituaries popped up in my head when I got to that portion about the obituary, and I'm looking at the actual obituary that's there. Yes, it's the right first name and last name. Yes, it's the right son, but the son's wife's name was different, and it was something about that was niggling the back of my head. And so I went in and had a look. I had the total wrong obituary in there, because I knew the guy got remarried again, but when I went back and dug deeper, I actually found a directory listening, and there was 3 guys with the exact same first name and last name, 3 different wives. And one of the wives in that obituary, one of the wives listed there in that directory, was the one that was mentioned in the obituary. And I was like, damn it. I'm usually so careful with my research and stuff. So even as professionals can make mistakes, but when we're going back over that stuff again, we have a chance to go back and have a look, and something will just stand out. And then there'd been a piece of information that we'd been missing, and I had this sudden inspiration, if you want to put it that way, to go and look at state records. Now you've got the National Archives, but the states also have state archives. And when I looked at the state archives, I found this massive PDF file, and each page of the PDF file was an image from the marriage index. And this one was all done from the year that we knew they got married, and it was done for the females from A through to KW. And I was able to go in there, and you can't do a search. You actually have to scroll down because the document is non-searchable, because it's a PDF of images. And so I got in there and I found the marriage information that we had been missing for so long. So it's like, oh, and this is what I love, because there are times that when you searching and searching and searching, you think you've gone through all the resources and everything else, and it's sort of like, okay, let's put that aside for now, and we'll come back to it later. And you go off and do whatever else needs to be done, and then you come back to it, and it's sort of like, oh my gosh, there it is. You get that little niggle that turns around and says, hey, go check over here. So our recording didn't get done today because I now have to go and go through and double check that particular family line, because I had a lot of questions along the way, especially when I got up to the second great grandparents. When I did the report, I said to her, I'm about 90% sure that these are the second great grandparents. I said, I'm not and I said maybe a little less than that, but I'm not completely comfortable with the fact that these are the names of your great great grandparents. So that was something I was able to report to her, and I put little marks there so she knew what those little marks were for. And in the script, it's written in there that, this is how I got them. These were the only links I could find to these people, but they seem to fit. I'm just not totally convinced that they're the right people. Now they could be. We may find documents somewhere else that like blows it out of the water and says, yes, these are the right people. Or we find another document that blows it out of the water and says, no, they're the wrong people. These are the right people over here. So you never, ever know what's going to happen in genealogy. This is what I love about it so much, because you can be researching and following one path to find the documentation and everything else, when you actually should spin around and take a different approach. So sometimes leaving it, and you will know this from any problems that you come up with, when you leave the problem alone for a little bit, walk away, do something else, and you come back to it, the solution presents itself, or it presents itself while you're doing something else. So our recording didn't get done today. Well, it kind of got started and then it got stopped, because as I was reading it, I was like, this doesn't sound right. There's just something was just bugging me about it. And so going in and having another look at it showed where my error was. And so I'm now able to go back in and go through that process again to see what other information I have incorrect. Did that one piece with that obituary, did that affect the descendant line? Did it affect the ancestry line? Or does it affect, or was it just the fact that that obituary was the wrong obituary in the wrong place at the wrong time? And but the weird part is these three people with the same first names all have the same mother with the same first names. I kid you not. Can't make this stuff up. Yet they're three completely different couples. Because these three guys were all born around the same time, three different sets of parents. They just happened to have ones that had the same mother's first name and middle initial. So I know it's weird, and it's not even a common name. That's what gets me, is that the first name of the mother is not a common name. It's not one that you see. It's more of an old a name that you would see more in Victorian England, not in the mid 1900s or late early to mid 1900s in America. It's not a name that you would see often there, and so it's kind of like, darn it, now I've got to go. So now I've got to go back through that side of the family and check everything again. But that's okay. It's all part of what the genealogy is. And even though I have completed her tree and handed her the electronic copy of her tree, she's got access rights to the tree that's in my profile on Ancestry, but I can still go in there and change it around and every now and again I do go back to other people's trees, and because something will niggle me and prompt me to go back, hey, go back and have a look at this. And let's try this approach, because there's all those little unanswered questions in there, and I want to find the answers to them. And so I will actually go back from time to time and just have another look at the tree and see how it's doing, and get a little niggle and go and investigate and maybe find a little something else in there. But anyway, so my snafu was the fact that I had made a mistake with obituary notices, and I own that, and that's fine. Off it, that obituary is out of there. And we're now going to find the right one that goes in there. See if we can find the right one that goes in there, the right death information, because we might even have the wrong death date, because we're taking it from the obituary because we couldn't find the death certificate or anything else. But then when it happened, I don't think they've released the death certificates in that state unless you are direct descendants and you have to put through all the paperwork to get a copy of it sent to you. So we'll have to see if we can find the obituary for it, find the cemetery records for it, whatever. And if we find the cemetery records, then go and do some research from a different angle to see if we have the right information that way. So you never know what's going to happen in the world of genealogy when you get researching and everything else. So that was my magic of the day, is that I found an error that I had made, and I'm now working to get it corrected. So that's it from me for today. How was your Magic Monday? What did you guys get up to that was magical about your day? Let us know in the comments below, and we will catch you guys tomorrow for Tune Up Tuesday. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We're off to have a quick walk because I have another Zoom in 40 minutes. So have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei konera.